Hi, my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. We have today The Secret Lives of Color. We're on number 39. We have Midnight Moon. I'll show you the bonus block that came out and give you a status on where I am. Spoiler alert, not too far. We have Quilts for Ukraine. We're going to show some that you have done. And then I have a little roundup of some upcoming sew-alongs. So let's get to it. First of all, let's do The Secret Lives of Color number 39. We are in the purple section of the book, and the color is called either Arkhill or Archill, depending on how you like to pronounce it. It's not one I've ever heard pronounced. You can go to pronounce, how to pronounce, just go Google how to pronounce and then a word, and you'll get videos and audio on how to pronounce it. So I did that. So it's a dye that's was very regal, another one of those very difficult ancient dyes to produce. But what you'll find out in this story is where the term the litmus test comes from. Litmus test. Did I say that right? Okay, anyway, you're going to make the block. And let me show you what happened. I actually made the block twice because I made it first in the tiny one and I didn't mean to do that. So here we go. I have the tiny version and then the version that I need for the placement in the quilt. I didn't need the small one. I was just looking at it wrong or had it in my head. It's the small one and it's not. So here is the block before it. So there we go. Now I want to put these up on the wall because where we are is that this section here, where is it? This one. This is what I'm just finishing with the larger block with this guy. So this one goes under here. This larger block goes under there. And then now I'm building the other side. And there's two blocks, there's only two blocks, the large and the medium size in this row or column. And I chose to do the smaller one for the Arkhill because the fabric that I'm going to do for the next block is got a larger print and I want to be able to save that bigger block for the larger print. So that was a decision that I made there, and the smaller block goes on the bottom. So he will be down here like that. So there is, well, I could bring you up a little bit. So there you go. So there are my Secret Lives of Color. And okay, coming soon, as I found this perfect backing for this one. It's a fabric that is not terribly easy to find. But when it comes, I will point you to where I found it. It's because it's been out a little while. So cool. I showed it to the ambassadors and I'm like, I'm thinking I have to get this. And of course, they were quite the enablers and decided, yes, I really should get it. So it is winging its way here right now. Very, very excited about that because it's super cool. When it comes, I will definitely be showing you. Okay, where are we? The Midnight Moon. Here is the book. So it's from the Summer Moon book. And the Moda is putting out every week 2 blocks, or some weeks is a bonus. We're on the second bonus. I think there's 3 or 4 bonus in the whole thing. So I'm sure glad we have a bonus this week because I got only a little bit done on last week's 6 blocks. So I have this part, this was a big O, and I have this much sewn. And this has an inset seam, which I'm not afraid of, but I need to be not sewing it at 10 o'clock at night, an inset seam. So that one will be done when I'm not at that point, when I'm awake more. And then this is the other block, which is a star, and I'm hoping this goes pretty quick. So the bonus for this week, which came out on April Rosenthal's blog on Saturday, is a Darling Pumpkin. So that's a pretty quick one block. So I have these 6 blocks and the pumpkin to make by Saturday. So that is definitely a goal because I'm keeping up. What I've found is I think I know mentally when that bonus block is coming. And so if other things are going on, I just don't push myself to get it done because I know I have the next week. But I don't want to be on Friday night making all 7 blocks. I just don't want to be doing that. So I have to gauge, you know, I have to work that. So I'm not pushing, and it's no fun, is it? It's no fun when you're like just rushing to keep up. You want to sew to be enjoyable. You want to sew to have fun. And I'm doing this for me because I love the quilt and I love the sort of challenge of doing all of these. I don't really have any business doing all of these. I have many other things I could be doing, but it's like, hey, you got to have fun. That's the whole reason that I do this, and the whole reason I quilt is if I see something darling that I would like to have the experience of making, I want to jump in and make it. Now, last week I did have 3 days of training, virtual training with Baby Lock. It was more like overviews and discussions and different things. So that was kind of fun. I got to see a lot of people via Zoom that I haven't seen for a year in that format, you know, so that was nice. And had some interesting, you know, show and tell and features on different machines, and I like to listen in on some of the machines, like a serger that, you know, I don't have a serger, I don't have any interest in a serger right now, but it's sort of fun to listen in and hear what they're about. So that was cool. But that meant I didn't sew Midnight Moon blocks. They were not getting sewn. Okay, let's go do Quilts for Ukraine. Let me just move this guy over a little bit. Mine is back. And Judy quilted it for me. Judy's up in Pennsylvania, and she works with she's friends with my friend Melanie, who helps me with some of my things. And so, you know, I met Judy through Melanie. So she quilted it with this big flower, and then there's sort of bubbles between the flowers. So let me give you a photo right here for a second to show you a little bit of the close-up. And it's sort of a drop setting, you know, so they're not like side by side. They sort of, you know, drop and float. And I think for this quilt, it's really awesome. The backing is here. And that's one of the fabrics used also in the front. It's actually the fabric here in this middle block. This sort of tile work fabric is the backing. That is also what I'm going to use for the binding. So I think that's what I have enough of. This one will go to Lutheran World Relief, which then will ship it to Ukraine with other quilts and other supplies that they're sending. So that is where my quilt will go. And I have some other quilts of yours that you have shared, so I thought I would just go through and pop them up so you could see them. So first of all, we have Melody, and she did this quilt with her Sisters in Stitches. Isn't that awesome? I love it. Then Barb did her quilt, and it went to a silent auction, and it made $255 for World Hunger. Marcia made her quilt that was a gift for a friend. Kathy did the one block, which looks fantastic. Jennifer did this one for her mom. And then I want to show you two that were done by Suzanne, our ambassador, with her group, the First Duchess Quilters. Okay, I just love that name, the First Duchess Quilters. I think that's her county that she lives in New York. It's Dutchess County. So they had a combined sew day where they were making these blocks to put together for the quilts. And then she did two different ways of quilting them. So you can see one is sort of like a Baptist fan, and the other is another flower that is like a repeat that is just awesome. So I love these, and she is also, her group, the First Duchess Quilters, will be sending their quilts to the Lutheran World Relief, just like mine will. So isn't that amazing? I love it. So it's so fresh looking and full of hope. That's what I envision when somebody receives this, and the ones like that you all have made, where we've given this sort of bright, more cheerful quilt that just feels like hope for the people of Ukraine. They still have a long ways to go in their war. They're not out of it by any means. There's still a lot of struggle happening. You can still donate. If you haven't picked up the pattern, you could donate $10 to the UNICEF for children. So that is what our fund is doing. Okay, super, super, super. I'm really, really happy with the way it came out, and I'll get the binding on. That is a priority now. So this one has priority so that I can get it up there to the Lutheran World Relief, and it can get into the process of going to somebody. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and talk about some upcoming sew-alongs. Oh, I also, wait. This is for this Kate Spain's t-shirt, in case you are just new to watching my channel. She designed these, and any money that is made off of them is going to the World Kitchen. I'm sorry, it's going to the World Kitchen. And so she has caps, and then she has patches with the same sunflower. So I think the caps are super cute. So the link is down below and at my website today. So if you want a t-shirt by my friend Kate Spain, who is a designer, she will be doing the funding for the World Kitchen. Okay, so let's go on the other side of the table and I'll show you talk about the sew-alongs coming up. So I am enjoying this cup with the Sloan Zone that Barbara, our ambassador, sent me. Isn't this awesome? So I just had to show you. Red. Yes. Okay. So we have two sew-alongs first that I want to mention because they're the ones that are coming up, and they're both mysteries with the Fat Quarter Shop. They have been doing these Halloween mystery for a couple years now, and for a couple years longer than that, a Christmas in July mystery. And of course, they're a little bit funky on timing right now due to fabrics not coming in. But I want to tell you about them because those are both a quilt and a cross-stitch portion. And there's a little bit more stuff out there for the cross-stitch because it doesn't get delayed quite the same. So let's look at the Boo Crew first. And I have my stuff all out for the Boo Crew. And look at this beautiful purple for the background, and I'm going to tell you about this here in a second. And they've got a little pumpkin needle minder. You can get either the DMC floss or you can get the Color Classics. I just have to read you these names of the threads: Black Coffee, Baking Tin. This one's Thundercloud, Bamboo, Mulled Berries. Isn't that wonderful? Colonial Copper, Queen's Bee. Yeah, so pretty. And then there's lots of these wonderful bags. I'll show you all the colors here I've got over here in a minute. Now, there is a quilting portion. Oh yeah, I've got also the floss biddies. So these, look how cute they are. You've got to have Halloween ones. And the ghost. So you've got the little ghost guy for the pull tab. All right, I will come back to this. I'm going to stick it over there. So this one has also a fabric portion, and I have an exorbitant amount of fabric for it. This is way more than you will need, but I went and got this really funky, I've got it early, I don't think it's quite in yet, but this is a very funky Halloween line called Spooky Darlings. And you know, in order for me to use like lines like this, which I love doing, they do need a bit of more blenders. Like, well, this is actually one of the pieces from here. There's a stripe. You can't go wrong with a stripe. Got some polka dots, which are tonal. There's an orange tonal. So, and then just an orange. I'm not sure about that one. But the fabrics themselves have a lot of personalities. These are like lace doily spider webs. Look at that, how cute. See? And and there's bunnies. Why we have bunnies at Halloween, I don't know, but there's ghosts, and then we've got it in black, and then here's some skeletons, pumpkins, some more like all different kind of figures on this guy. So these sort of blender ones will help me. Then it's got the whole thing again in lime green. Oh, there's some faces. Look at those. Look how cute they are. The faces. Then you've got everything again in cream and gray and hot pink. There's more faces. Pink, purples, peaches. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be using because it's crazy and I just love it. All right, crazy. And I'll have more information on that. Then for the Christmas time, there are a whole bunch of stuff now out. Now there are alpha biddies for Christmas. Now these will be used for the quilt part, not the cross stitch part. But for the cross stitch part, there is a holly needle minder, the floss, or the others. Classic Colorworks. I did get a charm to put on the bag, and I don't know which bag. So the bags come in gray, green, red, blue, pink, And there's actually an aqua too. I don't have the aqua one right now. So I don't know, I'm thinking it has to be red, don't you, for Christmas? Yeah? Put it all in the red bag. Okay. Then there is the quilt part of this, which is with, I'm going to use April Rosenthal, who I'm using her fabric for Midnight Moon, but this is her Christmas line. And it is called Candy Cane Lane. Some Santas. There's the candy canes. So I'll just show you. And I think I'm going to put it on this pale pink for the quilt. So some stars. There's ornaments. So it's just really cute. Snowflakes. Everything gets kind of repeated again. There's a nice plaid. It's got it in green and then in black. Look at that black plaid. So that's that'll be cute on pink. So I think of this, it's kind of a pale pink, and I will write all that up too, because this one is in July. So now I have to show you tomorrow. What I'm going to do is tomorrow I will do some of the other sew-alongs coming up. So these are the two with the Fat Quarter Shop with their mysteries. Okay, so there's some other sew-alongs coming up, and I'll talk about them on tomorrow. But first I want to say, I have to tell you what happened here. Trying to find, I've got all these little floss biddies, you know, to put the floss on to wrap it around. And I did a few for the boo thing already. And I wanted to clip them together, and I couldn't find my, I call them a jump ring. I couldn't find the ring to put on there. And I was looking and looking and looking everywhere, like for a day. And I was telling the ambassadors I couldn't find it. So I went and got one of the pull ties. So see, it's another use. You could put a pull tie on here because this was to put on the bags so that you can pull the bags more easily, but it also works to hold these together. Then I realized, I think Greg has those rings out in the garage. So, and I knew I had bought some and they were really big, like oversized. Like, I don't know why I bought them so big. I think because I had no idea that's how big they were. So finally Greg says, oh yeah, he found this. And he says, we have some other ones. I'm like, yeah. Could you find the big ones? He says, no. And I had looked and looked and looked. Like literally, it was making me crazy. So what happens after he gives me these, right? You know what happens. I find the big ones. These are gigantic. I have no idea what I thought. Look how big they are. I can actually, and I have big wrists, particularly after I broke them. They didn't go really back to normal size. So these go fit over my, and the ambassadors, like Melissa said, she uses these big ones because she puts a lot of bags of floss on these. So I have a bunch of those, 10. They're 3-inch size, in case you wanted to know. And then Greg says, oh, I found some more for you. So I have a whole nother packet of this size. I kind of like this, except that I really don't want the butterfly in with the Halloween stuff. You know, I'm kind of fussy like that. All right, so today you're going to do your Secret Lives. If you're going to cross stitch, you can go out today. If you're going to cross stitch for either of these mystery sew-alongs, you can pick up the cross stitch stuff now. You can get the supply list now for all of those. And you can, I think, see maybe the kit for the quilts. But you can like put in a notification for it, but the fabric's not in yet, or the kits aren't ready yet. And then if you're working for a quilt for Ukraine, I hope that you can get it to the point where you can have the quilt done, or at least the quilting done, something, so you can share it in the group. And I would like to reshare it here if you show it. And we'll be working on my binding. So, okay, tomorrow we'll have more of the projects coming up. So I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.